I'm here in New York City for REIT Week 2019, NAREIT's Investor Conference. Joining me today is Owen Thomas, CEO of Boston Properties. Owen, thanks so much for joining us.
Pleasure to be here. Thank you for having me again.
Now, I'd like to start by talking a little bit about ESG. Boston Properties was named a 2019 Energy Star Partner of the Year. What is the key to establishing and, more importantly, maintaining a well-regarded ESG program?
Yeah. Well, I would start by just saying we're very proud of our ESG efforts and outcomes at Boston Properties, and I think the key to it in a very general sense is having commitment to the cause and having a team that's passionate about executing it. I know that's a softer answer, but I think that's the essence of the success that we've had. So what do I mean by that? Well, I'll start with commitment. Our senior management team has identified this as an important issue to address for many years, and we put in place a sustainability department 5 years ago, which I'll come back to in a minute. So we've had that commitment from senior management to do it, and then I would also say very well supported by our board. We discuss ESG issues at the board level and our commitment to this and how we're prosecuting it, and obviously we have their full support. So there's organizational commitment to pursue all of the various aspects of ESG. But then there's passion around doing it. So as I mentioned, we started a sustainability department about 5 years ago. We asked a professional in our construction department named Ben Myers to run that. So he was our first head of sustainability. He's a highly decorated NAREIT recipient of the Leader of the Light Award last year, and we're very proud of Ben's accomplishments. So he's been passionately pursuing this, been very effective. And then, by the way, we can't be a leader in ESG without our full team being involved. So, Ben is the tip of the spear, but we've got a whole team behind him that's executing on this, because to do some of the renovation work that we need to do on our buildings, to receive and to create all the reporting that's required on the performance of our buildings, that takes a very broad set of our professionals in property management and other departments throughout Boston Properties. And again, our team's passionate on the topic, and again, we think it's been important to us for lots of reasons. I mean, one obviously is the whole issue around climate change and participating, doing our part in trying to reduce emissions in our buildings has clearly been important. This whole issue, though, is important to all the constituencies that we care about. So first of all, for our tenants, we definitely have tenants that have gone into some of our buildings because of their sustainability characteristics has been key. Second, shareholders. There's an increasing set of shareholders that we serve that are investing not necessarily in property companies, but in companies that are leaders in ESG. And so, I don't know, it's hard to divine exactly how big that capital base is, but it's helpful and increasingly important. I think that's only going to get bigger. So that's very helpful. Our communities. We are the city, we're in primarily coastal cities, and the impacts of climate change are greater in a lot of those cities, and many of them are very switched on to this issue and pursuing their own initiatives, and the fact that we're a leader in ESG helps us in our relationships. And then lastly is our professionals. I think our team wants to be passionate about what they do, and they want to be purposeful in what they do, and I think being a leader in ESG makes us a more purposeful organization.
And picking up on that, can you talk a little bit about New York City's Climate Mobilization Act and how that's going to impact property owners like Boston Properties moving forward?
Yeah. Well, so this is an act that was enacted on Earth Day, and there are two sets of carbon emission targets that were established by New York. Rough Justice 2024, it's 8.5 kilograms of carbon emissions per square foot or less, and that number drops to 4.5 by 2020. So for us, we have, from the reasons I outlined earlier, we got on this many, many years ago and have already, we either have new buildings or we've renovated older buildings. So all but one of our buildings already meet the 24 hurdles. And last building is under a current renovation of its energy system, so it will accomplish the goal by 24. And then I do think to achieve the 2030 goals, landlords are generally going to have to purchase sustainable, they're going to have to get their energy from sustainable sources, because that counts. Obviously, it's how efficient are you in using the energy, and then where does the energy come from? And look, 2030 is a long time from now. I'm sure that more sustainable energy sources will be created to allow landlords to procure that, particularly given this regulation. But your question's broader than that. What does it mean for the property market? Boston Properties and many of our peers are, we have Class A properties, we're well capitalized, we have the resources and commitment and passion to do a lot of the work that I described. But that's not true across the whole set, and there are buildings that are not as high quality, maybe don't have as modern building systems, and those buildings are going to be facing bigger fines in New York when these hurdles are achieved, or when they come about.
Owen, thanks for joining us.
Okay, Matt, my pleasure. Thank you.
For more from REIT Week 2019, be sure to visit NAREIT's website, REIT.com.